Are you a parent that's stressed about college admissions? Do you possibly have a middle schooler or early high schooler and you're looking for mentorship to figure out what their interests are? My name is Neha Gupta. I'm the founder of College Shortcuts. And today I want to teach you my 3-step formula that's going to help your child get into their dream school. I am the founder of College Shortcuts. I've been doing this for over 14 years, where we worked with tens of thousands of students and helping them stand out in the college admissions process and increase their chances of getting in by 95% into their top 3 choices. Now, I know as a parent, it's so stressful. For you, when you applied to college, it was probably 20 to 30 years ago. Possibly you hand wrote your applications, the internet wasn't even there, the Common App wasn't there. When you got in, it was a lot easier. They look back and they can say that, if you're applying to an Ivy League, there was a 70% chance of getting in comparison to now where it's 4 to 11%. So we all know the college admissions process has absolutely changed, especially with the scandal and so forth. So today I want to teach you a little bit about how to help your child stand out in this process, because I know how stressful this process can be. One of the things that I have found to be so successful is my AIM formula. Because the truth of the matter is that if you have a child, it's all about making sure that you aim for the stars. Because if it's not you and not them, who else will? So I want to go over my AIM formula where I have really helped families over and over with this process. So first, A, right here, is always putting your kid in the best light. So always putting your kid in the best light. Now, don't mind my handwriting because, that's not important right now. So one of the big things that we see in the college admissions process is a lot of times, we think, okay, we should maybe talk about the things that aren't so great, or maybe they struggled in the class, or they didn't do so great in a certain, pre-cal class. The truth of the matter is what they want to see is your child in the best light. This is the place where you do have a brag sheet, also known as the resume. There's also parts of the essay where you can really focus and hone in on some of their strengths. I think right now we live in a world where we think we want to focus on our weaknesses and make them better, but the truth of the matter is we've got to focus on our kids' strengths, because that's what makes them the unicorn that stands out in the admissions process. So always putting your kid in the best light is so important, because we all know that they are already dealing with so much. So always putting your kid in the best light is so important, because these admissions officers are looking to see what is it about your child that makes them stand out. And that brings me to my second point. What is their unique angle that's going to help them get in? What is that narrative or story? Now, I've been doing this for over 14 years. I've written 3 books about college admissions. I've been on TEDx and done so much in terms of this space. And I think one of the biggest things that makes it so hard for parents is that because you are in there day in and day out, it can be hard to figure out what it is that makes your kid unique. So I want to talk about a few examples of how that actually can work. So let's say, for example, you have a student who's super math and sciencey, and they're really interested possibly in engineering or computer science. One of the ways to really figure out how to make them stand out and how to put them in their best light is to find the right experiences for them that's going to help them shine in the application process. What does that mean? Don't do everything that all the other moms or dads are doing. I know that sounds crazy because you think there might be a formula, but the truth of the matter is that all these kids start to look the same. And there's nothing worse than saying, oh, this kid's just a number, or looks really common in the common application process. So you really want to make sure you're finding things that are unique and different, and then highlighting those in the admissions process. So I hope that helps you in understanding why it's so important to really make sure that you put your kid in the best light. The second part of my AIM formula is I. You should know the ins and outs of the admissions office. One of the big things about this, ins and outs of the admissions office, is that so many families are actually scared to even visit these places. But the funny part is they're looking for your kid. That's the whole point. And as someone who has relationships with them, talk with them, visit schools, I was just on Harvard's campus literally a few weeks ago, these admissions offices are looking for your child. Let's talk about how they're looking for your child. See, the average time an admissions officer has to review your child's application is typically less than 7 minutes. That is super short to review a transcript, essays, resume, recommendation letters, and so forth. So they're going to look at a specific amount of factors to really figure out where your child falls. So let's talk about what those factors are. They're going to look at things like, where are you located? Private or public school? Did they do art, dance, sports? What types of extracurriculars were they involved with? How well is their essay actually written? Do they actually answer the topic question involved? What about the letter of recommendation? Who are the people writing these things? What is the ethnicity of the student, the gender, and so forth? There are so many factors that are involved in the admissions process that they're looking at all these different categories to really make sure that they build a diverse freshman class. So, for example, if you have a child who, let's say, is really good at, wanting to volunteer in medicine and wants to become a doctor, but there's 10,000 other kids that also have the same SAT, ACT score, the same GPA, and still writes about the same thing, it's going to be really hard for that admissions officer to say, what's the difference between student A and student B? That's a big part of where College Shortcuts has come in to help students find out what is that unique story so they don't look like everybody else. So it's very important as a parent that you do a lot of research and studying around what it is that these admissions officers are looking for and ensuring that your child doesn't look like everybody else. These admissions officers have very little time. Some of them are reviewing them on the weekends. They have stacks of applications with their cup of coffee, cup of joe, trying to figure out which kid is going to be the right cultural fit. Brings me to my second point. Cultural fit is everything. Now let me get very real with you for a second. Do you want a child who goes to college and then ends up back on your couch a year later? Or do you want a kid who goes to college, thrives, and makes it an amazing experience? That's the power of picking the right school and having the right fit. You don't want to just send your kid off to a name brand school because you think it's great versus finding the right environment where the kids are like them or going to fall in love with them. They're having an amazing experience. It's the right size school and so forth. So it's very important for you to understand the ins and outs of these admissions offices and for you to do your homework about what are the types of schools that are really the right fit. You should really get a sense of that because it's so important for these kids to really feel happy where they are when they leave your home. Because let's face it, guys, these are some of the last few years you have with your child. They say that 80% of all parenting happens before the age of 18. So I want to make sure that your child is taken care of in this process and that you understand what it is admissions officers are looking for so that your child is at the right place and they are happy where they are. The last part is M. Now, M is my favorite part of this process of the AIM formula, and that is master your passion. Now, I got to put this in all caps. Everyone around me knows this is literally my middle name. I am all about the passion, okay? Because let me tell you why it's so powerful. If a student's super passionate about what they do, and they're packaged properly, and they pitch themselves well, and they have lots of personality. If you haven't noticed, I have a thing for the letter P. See, this is the thing about it. If you've got all of these little pieces together and the passion isn't there, it's really boring. Like, I've read essays from students where it's like, okay, so I want to be a doctor because my dad's a doctor, and they've told me it's a great life career because I'll make a certain amount. Not interesting. If a kid decides they want to be a doctor because they watched their grandfather suffer from something really difficult and they decided they want to be able to solve that for other people, that's a lot more interesting. It's a much more textured story. It's got grit, it's got resilience, it's got all the other little things in it. So this part to me is everything. Did you know that over 86% of Americans hate their job? That's ridiculous to me. One of the things I'm trying to combat at College Shortcuts is the fact that I truly believe if teenagers have the right mentor in place, they have the right experiences in place outside of just our educational system, they can actually help in finding what they're passionate about. So if you got a student who's really interested in, let's say, English and the humanities, there's so many different camps and things where they can learn things. Let's say they're interested in speech and debate. There's amazing camps out there, both nationally and internationally, they can be really involved in that process. So mastering your passion is everything, and that can start, honestly, as early as 6 or 7 years old. I just mentored my own niece into getting one of SeaWorld's top conservationist awards just with her application alone, and she's super passionate about saving the planet and penguins. So Passion to me is everything. And if we can get this part, all of this other stuff falls in beautifully in the process. So to me, it's really about that, finding that passion. What do they want to major in? What are their interests? What do they want to do with their life? That to me is everything. Now, where it really shows up in the application is the resume and the essays. So let's talk about that for a second. When you've got the resume, this is the place where you're going to be talking specifically around what are the activities that are involved? What are the different experiences they had? Summer opportunities, job, internships, community service. This gives the personality, but it gives it in a very bullet-pointed type of way. Now, this is what we call the snapshot. People can look at a resume, get a very strong sense. I go through thousands of resumes all the time. To even be a consultant on my team, I typically look through 1,000 resumes to pick one consultant. And I can tell immediately, based on their resume, if they're going to fit properly, like if they're gonna be the cultural fit, and if they're also going to be intelligent enough to be on my team. The same thing goes for Ivy Leagues and top 50 universities, guys. So the resume is extremely crucial, the way it's formatted, the speed at which someone can get a sense of your child, but also what's the guts of this resume? This is linked right over to the passion, and it is so important. You know, there's certain activities that you can do that no one else is doing. Actually, it's really exciting. I'm working with a student named Shilpi, and she is going to be an Amazon author in about 3 weeks, which I'm very excited about. She's authoring her first book. She's in 9th grade, and next year she's going to be on a TEDx stage. So I'm helping her to shortcut her passion. She's incredible in terms of stage presence, and she's a passionate individual, and to me, I just think that is so powerful to have her have those experiences early on. We've got other students that are building apps around music. They're building different projects. They're doing research. They're doing solar panel work. I mean, it's unbelievable the types of projects we do with students. So resume is a big portion of the application process. And I want to go over that. There's 4 parts. There's the GPA, there's the SAT, ACT, and then there's resume. And the last part is the dreaded essay, right? I'll just be real with you. Everyone's so scared of this thing. I don't know why. The thing about it is GPA and SAT score, these things can be monitored. They can be worked on. You can do that with tutoring. You can get assistance. You got to have the right motivation, the right skill sets, the discipline. All this stuff matters in this process. Those habits and rituals are what showcases to the colleges what type of kid they're getting, right? So it's so important to get these solidly done. The part where things are a little more softer and different are the resume and the essay. Now let's talk about the essay. The essay is the part that every kid stares at a blank cursor. You know, raise your hand if you feel like the essay scares you even as a parent, because in your time it wasn't as important. But today it can make or break the application. Literally the essay, no matter what your GPA and SAT score is, no matter how good your resume is, if your essay sucks, you're not getting in. I hate to say it, but that's just what it is. I'm the type of coach that's gonna love on you, but I'm gonna kick you in the butt at the same time. That's just my style, college shortcut. So the essay is extremely important. The big number one thing they're gonna get is your personality. How do they know? It's your writing style. What type of sentences are you using? What type of words do you use? I'm a total super nerd, my whole team is. I'm always throwing SAT words into places that my friends are like, I can't believe you use this vocabulary. But the truth is, in the essay, they want to get a sense of who you are and what you are. So the personality is huge. The next thing is, what is the passion, right? Again, coming right back to this. It is extremely important to figure out what that is early on. And that's going to be the meat of the essay, the content part. You know, are you going to write about an incredible experience you had? Are you going to talk about something that was super hard in your life? Maybe there are some difficulties you faced. Maybe you've experienced loss or grief or heartbreak, or you've tried something and you failed at it. Or, you know, we had one student who just got an interview at Stanford. It's their #1 school. Their whole essay was about how they built shoes that could walk on water in physics. And styrofoam, and how they built those shoes, and that experience of doing that was absolutely incredible. So the essay was it's just like I could frame it. It's so good. And even the student loves it. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is, how do you pitch yourself to this school? Now, pitch is everything. What does it mean to pitch yourself? Is your child going to match the school they're at Are they going to be the right fit? And how do we sell them in the essay? What does that mean exactly? Well, are there organizations they might be interested in on campus? Or is there a professor that they really like? Or are there certain classes they want to take? That's where pitch comes into place. And it's all about how do you do that soft sell or that soft pitch that says, look, I am the right fit for this school, and let me tell you why. See, if you don't have these 3 aspects to the essay, it's not a standout essay. They have to understand why your child is the right fit at that school. And the only way to do that is to do that through personality, passion, and pitch. So I hope that's really clear about why the essay is so important and why passion is so important. So this is my AIM formula, always putting your kid in the best light. I, knowing the ins and outs of the admissions process, and M, mastering your passion. And remember, there's 4 things you need to know that are so important. There's the GPA, SAT, ACT score, the resume, and the essays that all matter in the application process. Now, I hope you love this video. What I would love for you to do now is that if you are interested in getting this type of help to really master the AIM formula and to really increase your child's chances of getting in, please go ahead and find out more at our application page at collegeshortcuts.com. What we're going to do there is you fill out a short application with us and then book a free discovery call, which I'm so excited to give for you for free right now, where we can go ahead and have our enrollment team talk with you and see what is it that we can do for your child. Because I know that, if you've got a middle schooler or a high schooler, this is something that is keeping you up at night. And I want to make sure that we master these key things in the process. I know that, everyone can do this on their own. There's no question. If they feel like they can, they should. But if you know somewhere inside you that getting the help that you need, that increasing your child's chances can make all the difference to you, then this is the time to go ahead and do it. Now, I want you to know we only have so many spots. See, College Shortcuts is a boutique agency. We don't have thousands of consultants. I check everything that walks outside my door in terms of an essay or resume, and our consultants are extremely passionate, but they also get booked very fast. We're actually at a place now where we've got more families than we do consultants, and so we're slowly hiring more to make sure that we can help as many families as we can. So if you are interested after learning from this video about College Shortcuts and some of the things that we do, please go ahead and apply, take 2 minutes, and book a call with us, because I know that if you take that extra step and you book that call, it can make all the difference in your child's chances for their future and their life. Where you go to college can make all the difference. And I truly believe that if children go to the right place, if they love what they do, and they really know how to have the right skills around time management, motivation, kindness, resilience, grit, all the things my mentors coach your child on, they're more fun at home with you. You have a much more fun time while they're teenagers, which I know a lot of you can't even think is possible. We take care of all of those hard things and those hard issues around the admissions process, and we get kids in. Just this last year, we had multiple students have interviews at Stanford within 1 week of applying. We've got students interviewing at Rice, Princeton, Tufts, and every single day we're getting these emails about interviews. Families have gotten in with our program at the top 50 schools, and it's absolutely incredible. See, 95% of the families that work with us, these students will get into their top 3 choices because we know that they're driven, hardworking, and they're coachable. So if you're interested, please go ahead and apply. Book a call with us right now, schedule it, get that time on the books, because we all know that it is so important to schedule these types of things in. If you schedule it in, it happens. If you don't, well, then it doesn't happen. So I hope you learned a lot from my AIM formula here about exactly what you need to do in the college admissions process. And if you've got that teenager and you want to make your life a lot easier as a parent, please go ahead and apply right now to book a call with us. I can't wait for our enrollment team to speak with you. They are so excited to connect and can't wait to see you on the inside. Thanks so much. This is Neha with College Shortcuts.